And Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump announces meeting with Prime. All right, starting with the top story. The Union Cabinet has approved the proposal for simultaneous elections across the whole country. Ashwini Vaishnaw has announced this. The decision has come after a high-level committee chaired by former President Ramnath Kovind submitted its report on the One Nation, One Election plan. The panel had given recommendations about conducting concurrent elections for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies as the first phase, which is further to be synchronized by local body polls within a period of 100 days. The proposal's main aim is to streamline India's electoral process by reducing frequency of elections, which are currently staggered over multiple years at different levels. It is also viewed as a cost-saving measure, which is meant to reduce the financial and administrative burden of frequent elections. Let us listen to what Ashwini Vaishnaw had said.
आज यूनियन कैबिनेट में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने एनडीए की सरकार ने वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन में जो हाई लेवल कमेटी की रिकमेंडेशंस थी उसको एक्सेप्ट किया है. हाई लेवल कमेटी recommendations on one nation, one election, on simultaneous elections, those recommendations have been accepted today by the Union Cabinet. And as you are aware, 1951 से 1967 तक इलेक्शन साइमल्टेनियसली होते थे. उसके बाद में 1999 में लॉ कमीशन ने अपनी 170th रिपोर्ट में रिकमेंड किया था कि वन इलेक्शन टू लोकसभा एंड ऑल लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबलीज इन 5 years होना चाहिए, जिससे कि देश में डेवलपमेंट चलता रहे. जो बहुत सारा खर्चा होता है इलेक्शंस के कारण वो ना हो. बहुत सारा लॉ एंड ऑर्डर और क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम जो बाधित हो जाता है, बिकॉज पुलिसमैन आर टोटली डिप्लॉयड इन मेंटेनिंग द इलेक्शन लॉ एंड ऑर्डर, वो सब जो बड़ा एक बहुत बड़ा एक डिसरप्शन रहता है वो ना हो. और एक तरीके से जो आज का यूथ है और आज का जो भारत है, जिसकी एक एस्पिरेशन है कि डेवलपमेंट तेज़ी से हो, चाहे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का हो, चाहे एजुकेशन का हो, हेल्थ केयर का हो, चाहे एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ का हो, चाहे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का हो, उसमें इलेक्शन के प्रोसेस से बार बार जो बीच में एक तरीके से उन सब को एक स्मूथ तरीके से डेवलपमेंट चलता रहे. और इस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बार बार ये रिकमेंडेशन, ये सजेशन देश में जगह जगह से अलग अलग फोरम से आया है.
Anand, my colleague, joins us at this point in time to talk more about this. Anand, this is a big move, obviously, apart from the criticism and admonishment that is coming on behalf of the opposition. This is going to be a real game changer, especially when it comes to the administrative burden on the exchequer as well as the central government when it comes to conducting elections.
Yeah, when it look today, Union Cabinet gave not to One Nation, One Election proposal that the committee led by former President Ramnath Kovind had submitted with the government. So today the Cabinet gave its nod for the same, and this now One Nation, One Election, if it has been taken into consideration, then the government will be free to conduct release the additional pressure that has on the administrative people who are involved in conducting elections. So even on the other side, the Congress hit back at this decision of the government, where Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge himself dubbed this One Nation, One Election as impractical, and he said that the BJP is not getting any other issue, so it is trying to divert the attention of the people from the elections of Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana by bringing this, by giving not to One Nation, One Election. However, the government is backing the claim of One Nation, One Election, that it is going to save the government's money that is spent on the election, on conducting elections across the country in different years and different phases. So definitely a war of words has erupted on this today between the BJP and the Congress. Back to you, Vijay.
Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, also joins us on the show. Professor Nalapat, what does this move mean? A number of countries across the world have this format, but what does it mean for India? Is this going to, in fact, solve the problem of administrative, logistical, complications?
Well, Vineet, the fact of the matter is that elections are proving to be a big issue in India because there is almost no month going by in which there is no major election, whether to the state government or the national government or some other by-election, election go on everywhere. So that is becoming quite a distraction from the normal process of governance. You and I know as voters, we vote for a party that delivers. Now, if whole time is spent on election after election after election, well, the party has less time for governance, any party. So I think, quite frankly, if this can be brought into practice, in my personal view, it will be a good thing, because then what happens is the election distraction comes once every few years, and thereafter the government can focus on the job for which it was elected, namely running the country properly, running the state properly, running the district properly, running the panchayat properly. I think that is important, and quite frankly, I think at least state and national elections should be held simultaneously, in my personal view.
All right, Professor Nalapat, the opposition is saying that this doesn't make any sense. It would just make a voter's life a lot more complicated, while uncomplicating the task that the government should be conducting in the first place.
Look, I don't know how it will make the voter's life more complicated. The voter, frankly, the voter has to go every few months back to a native place and cast a vote not to miss one by-election or a state election or the national election. I think the voter would welcome just going once and completing the whole job. So, Vineet, frankly, I don't see the logic in that particular argument. I think it is another example of the fact that whatever the government does, the opposition says is wrong, whatever it does. And I think that has been going on in India for some time. So I think we need to be used to that kind of reflexive negativity about any action taken by the government. Vineet.
Professor Nalapat, appreciate you joining us, sir. Anand, my colleague, is also with us on the broadcast. Anand, obviously the opposition not very happy about this move, but the fact of the matter is that this was something that was in the works since a long time.
Yeah, when it look, the government constitution, a committee in September last year, if you say, then it was constituted on September 2 last year under the chairmanship of former President Ram Nath Kovind. And since then, he has held several deliberations with several of the stakeholders across the country. And then they submitted their report to President Draupadi Murmu earlier this year on the simultaneous elections across the country. And then the Union Cabinet gave its nod for the same. And even Ashwini Vaishnaw, the Union and Broadcasting Minister, when he was addressing the media, when he was asked the question about that, how Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge responded to one nation, one election idea, and he said that it is impractical and people of the country are not going to accept it. Then he took a jibe at the Congress and he said that the Congress is definitely going to feel the pressure, as it will, this process is to make elections very easier and it will make the people to elect their government in a very easy way. And the government even has not to spend a lot of money on conducting elections across the country for state elections as well as for the Lok Sabha elections. So definitely the idea behind one election and one election is to save money of the taxpayers of the country, and to conduct simultaneous elections to elect their state governments, whereas as to elect even the central government. Back to you.
Anand, stay with us. Meanwhile, some political reactions coming in with regards to this announcement of one nation, one poll. Listen in.
It's the most historic day. One nation, one election. It's not only a dream of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Crores and crores of Indians were expecting this. One nation, one election will not only save time, it also saves thousands and thousands of crores of money. Because most of the time, throughout the year, the elections will go on. But definitely this historic decision of Modi ji's government, NDA government, BJP government, is going to help the nation completely.
वन इलेक्शन नहीं हो सकता, कानून में संशोधन करने पड़ेंगे और कानून में संशोधन करने के लिए इनके पास में पर्याप्त बहुमत नहीं है जो संविधान में संशोधन कर सकते हैं। ये केवल इस तरीके का लेकर के आते हैं जिससे इनकी विफलताओं के ऊपर से ध्यान हट जाए और दूसरी विषय में चर्चा करने लग जाए। इनसे कोई सवाल जवाब नहीं मांगे कि महंगाई का क्या हुआ, बेरोजगारों को रोजगार देने का क्या हुआ, जो कानून व्यवस्था का क्या हाल है, देश के अंदर जो गरीबी बढ़ रही है उसका क्या है, उसके लिए निजात के लिए आप क्या कर रहे हो, डेवलपमेंट के लिए क्या कर रहे हो। उन मुद्दों से इनके जो झूठे वादे थे उनसे ध्यान हटाने के लिए ये इस तरीके का लाते हैं। आप बताइए कि महिला आरक्षण का क्या हुआ साहब? महिला आरक्षण का बिल पास कराया, सबने सर्वसम्मति से किया, क्या लागू हो गया क्या? वो उसी तरीके से ये वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन का ये केवल प्रोपोगंडा है, इसमें कुछ भी होना जाना नहीं है। 101% ये कानून नहीं बनेगा, इनसे पास नहीं होगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has implemented the vision of Indian constitution makers, the vision of Baba Saheb Bhimrao Ambedkar. When the initial constitution had come into force, all the initial elections had happened as one nation, one election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the past, before 2024, and even when after 2019, had spoken about how this reform is essential to respect the initial spirit of the constitution and to focus on doing public welfare and social good. A committee was formed under the presidency of former President of India, Ramnath Kovind ji, and suggestions were taken from all possible stakeholders. The cabinet has given a nod, taking into considerations those suggestions. The people of India welcome Prime Minister's initiative, and the people of India give a thumbs up to the cabinet approving one nation, one election. The governments across different political parties will get more bandwidth to perform public welfare.
यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी को बहुत बहुत बधाई और शुभकामनाएं देता हूं, क्योंकि जो निर्णय कर रहे हैं, ऐतिहासिक निर्णय कर रहे हैं, देश के हित में कर रहे हैं। देश के अंदर लगातार चुनाव होते रहते हैं, एक तो विकास की गति बाधित होती है, दूसरा लोगों के काम नहीं होते और लगातार लोग चुनाव की प्रक्रिया में ही फंसे रहते हैं। जो आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये पिछले दिनों एक कमेटी बनाई थी।